Hey everybody, I wanted to do a rear seat recline kit. So this product's from Innovative JK Products, and they make a recline for the JL product line as well. I really think this would be a big improvement towards the seating position of the back seat. On a recent trip that my family and I took to Flagstaff, a several hour drive, I noticed that the kids were a bit uncomfortable in the back, especially when you consider putting a car seat in the back, and that thing was sitting straight up and down for, you know, a 5-6 hour ride, which is unfortunate. If I would have had this in place, I think it would have been a little bit more comfortable for the kids, and in the future I think it'll be more comfortable for them and any adults that we sit back here. So let's get this thing started, and we'll see how the sitting position changes, and we'll go from there, and hopefully it'll be worth it all. So here's the sitting position for an adult. Hopefully the Recline kit will bring it back a few inches and add a little bit more comfort. There's enough cushion on the bottom, but I could see how one would start to slouch after a several hour drive. So hopefully this makes it better and isn't too much of a pain to get done. As far as I understand, it should just be a few bolts and then putting these spacers in and give you a good recline of several inches. Alright, I brought the Jeep inside. Wasn't a big fan of 45 degrees and wind. It's sunny outside, but I'm not really wanting to wrench on the car in that kind of cold. I opened up the product box, found this really nice step-by-step color diagram of everything you need to do to be able to put this in. The other thing that I noticed is that the plastic blocks, or I should say the blocks that are for the Recline, are made of plastic. I've seen some products that are made of steel, and some people are real big on that. I don't have any increased safety concerns. As long as I've got good strong bolts, I think it'll be just fine. And any kind of crazy wreck that would sacrifice the integrity of these plastic blocks, I think would be probably total loss for your vehicle anyhow. And you're probably looking at being injured no matter what happens. So again, I don't have any personal preference towards steel or plastic. It's a very thick plastic. Each outer edge is approximately a 1/4 inch thick, and it seems very well made. So I'm not going to have any concerns putting these in. We'll go ahead and get this started. An essential part to removing this long panel that's going to be covering up these bolts is removing this panel right here. The panel's secured by 3 D-ring points. They have plastic covers on them that will have to be lifted up using a flathead screwdriver. It's gonna make a clicking noise. It's not breaking. It'll lift up, and then what happens is you'll have this bolt exposed. Take your provided T40 bit out of your Jeep toolkit, which is the smaller one, unscrew all 3 bolts, and then take it off, get it out of the way, so that you can reach this farthest point clip. Once you're able to start on the end, you're able to work it up. But if you don't remove this panel, this limited room is almost impossible to get to, and there's just a very small space. Taking these panels off right here makes it far easier, and in my mind is essential to being able to take off this long panel. Alright, so in the JL, at least for mine, they have this this flush panel so that when you put down the seats, it stays flush and you don't have anything that, you know, gets caught up in this gap that's right here. But this is the issue, is that the panel for the gap doesn't want to come up. There's these little fasteners, extremely hard to take off. I'm having to go back and forth with trim tools, pushing on the middle of each bracket to get it to pop up on that side and then pop up on the next side before I can get them up. I'll show you an example of them when I get it all the way off, but I'm just slowly working my way across this thing, trying to get to each one, and I'll show you kind of how I'm doing it. This is the hardest thing, and I talked to the owner of Innovative JK, and he was saying that he hasn't had the opportunity to take one of these off yet, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I mean, this thing took me like an hour to figure out how it was that I was gonna get it off without breaking it. The issue is there's these little metal forks in it that kind of just they hold up against the trim, and they don't come off easy or come up easy at all. And the hard part is reaching them, so you need like these little, you need like a tool to get under there because you just can't do it with your fingers. See, and there went another one right there. So I've gotten like 4 or 5 of them now, and they're wanting to go back down as you do them. So you kind of have to keep pressure on it. Probably be a better thing for a two-person job. I'm getting it. It's slow rolling. There's got to be another one in here somewhere. And then the other thing is the carpet underneath. Pulling that up. That's not. I mean, not huge. They made this carpet fortunately to come off, which is kind of nice. You flood out your vehicle or something like that. All right, so here's the next one. That was the click of this side. The hardest part, I think, is just getting it started because there's so many in a row. They are holding it down, and it doesn't want to release. This one I can't find. Oh, there. I got this one that's like an angled hook, and it like pushes upward, which is pretty handy. I just happen to have these trim tools. Put a screwdriver right there to keep that one from going in because it's getting tight now. Right, to my best of my knowledge, there's one left. Alright, so as you can see, these little brackets have to be pressed right in the middle on each side to be able to get it to loosen up. And you got to start from one end of this trim all the way to the other. And as you do it, it'll get a little bit easier and more maneuverable. But the issue is, let me back this out real quick. The issue is that you have no space between here and here for you to work underneath that panel. So you're gonna have to go back and forth all the way across and then finally get this thing up. But that is the only way for you to get to this bolt right here to be able to loosen up the back of the seats. The next step that we have is to lift these bolts and loosen them about 1/4 inch so that this seat is able to wiggle just a little bit. We're going to use an 18mm deep socket for these. I already got this middle one loosened up, working on the sides. Alright, your next step's going to be removing these bolts and then lifting up the seat. Go ahead and take this other side off. The next thing I'm going to do is lift the seat and then use the seat belt to keep it secured up. Due to the middle belt clip keeping the seat from going all the way up, it's going to have to be secured right here. These bolts are a pain in the ass to remove. So that's the first one for the bolts. To be able to put the blocks underneath when you lift up the back of these brackets. I'll go ahead and do the other two and then show you from there. An important note is you're going to need an extension for your deep socket because this bracket right here is going to get in the way of you turning the wrench, getting this this driver's side bolt off. Say hi to my daughter. Hi, Kylie. Say hi.
Hi.
Alright, so Kylie's holding the 1/4 inch square block that you're going to put to the back of the Jeep. It's going to go along that back panel in underneath that bracket. Now make sure that you line it up straight and it's square to the bracket, not twisted at all, as you hand tighten the 3 bolts that are on the back. Once you have all 3 in place and hand tighten, what you're going to do is tighten them all down with a wrench, making sure they stay square. Alright, I'm taking this 1/4 inch block and I'm putting it underneath the back of the seat, and then I'm going to hand tighten in each one of these bolts. I'm going to do this 3 times. Alright, I got these hand tight. I'm going to go ahead and All right, they're all buckled in real tight. So the next step's gonna be taking the approximately 1/2 inch rectangle block and placing it down where the screw hole is underneath the seat. And then what you're gonna do is take the new SEM screw and you're going to screw that into the block with the seat leg on top, and then tighten it down with the block staying square to the leg. So the last part of this is going to be doing the 40 side of the bench, the driver's side, and we'll do the same thing. Put the 1/2 inch blocks down, line up the holes for the bolts, use the SEM bolts provided in the kit, lower the bench, put the legs on straight, and then screw them down and make sure that they're nice and straight. One thing to notice is that the legs like to actually twist because they're thin. I'll show you that in a second. As I was bolting this thing down tight, what was happening is this leg, because it's just this thin piece of metal, actually started to twist. So the bracket up here at the top of the seat, and then where it's bolting down at the bottom, was actually starting to twist around. So I couldn't go as tight as I probably could physically, but it's real tight, and this is very important to make sure that you keep straight. So pay attention to this, because at the very top there's not much of a bracket holding it in. It seems to just be like a pressure fitting, and I would hate for you to twist that so much that you popped it out and really ruin the leg of your seat. So it's something to be careful of when you're doing this. Tighten it down, make it real tight, but don't start twisting on the leg. Big effort to make sure that these legs don't twist on us, and then they're all tightened in and everything's good to go. So last step, tighten up these 3 bolts and then put these panels back on to put the cargo cover back in, and that's it. We'll go ahead and tuck these insulation pads down. This is a bit wiggly, so that'll tighten up with a bolt. That is a lot easier to put in than it is to take out. This is the end of this whole project. We're going to put these panels back in. Really easy to do. I got this drill driver with the T40 bit that comes with your Jeep kit, your Jeep tool kit, and we'll go ahead and secure these real fast and then get everything put back in. All right. The cargo panel's going back in. This thing's super easy to take in and out, fortunately, unlike the gap cover right over there in front of the seat. It's really easy. You just lift up and slide it, and then it just comes right off those little panels that hold it in place. Again, everything's buttoned back in, clipped back in place. The whole thing was kind of difficult to figure out because I didn't see any examples of how to take this darn thing off, and I finally figured it out. So hopefully it helps you and saves you a lot of time, because it took me quite a while to figure out how to get these things off efficiently. So yeah, so let's go over the review and see if Kylie likes the way the back of the seat feels. All right, so this whole thing's done, and I'm sitting in here now, and immediately it's a good lean. I think I was about right here when I first did this before doing the install, and now I'm a good 2 inches back, and it's a lot more comfortable. So no slouch and a good lean. This is definitely worth the upgrade. I really like it. Let's see what Kylie thinks about it.
I think it feels a little different, and I think it's good for like say we install something up here, we can put something up there like a tablet or a phone and watch a movie laying back.
How's the lean on it? Is it more comfortable? Sit all the way back. Is that more comfortable than it used to be?
Yeah.
That's pretty good, huh? It's a nice little recline. You definitely like to recline, huh?
Yeah.
All right, thanks for your help, sweetheart.
You're welcome. All
right, so that's the Innovative JK Products rear seat recline. You can get it on their website, innovativejkproducts.com. It's about 60 bucks. I think it's a pretty good product. Takes a little bit of time to install, but hopefully with my help and this little trick on the gap cover for the rear seat to cargo, it makes it a lot more smooth for you. Takes a lot less time. Be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.